Hello, and welcome on into the Swear Word. I'm your host, Brandon Swear, and this is a podcast for the Chilihead community, by the Chilihead community, regardless of your spice tolerance. This is the place for you. Up tonight, we're going to be discussing finding your heat. Ultimately, how you choose the right hot sauce without wasting your money. So, episode 170 starts now. Welcome on in, Swear Nation. So glad to have everyone here, whether you're tuning in on YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, and or Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for being here and continuing to make this podcast what it is. Now, if you've just recently found the channel or this is your first ever episode of the Swear Word, glad to have you here. And this is definitely going to be one of those that are an easy jump in point, whether you have just started or you're a vet in the game and you're wanting to hone things in. Because tonight we're going to have some real talk here. We're going to talk about if you've ever bought a hot sauce because of the label just screamed extreme, or it had a cartoon pepper breathing fire on it. And at the end, you got home, you tried it once, and now it just is sitting there in the fridge like a $12 regret. Then this episode is definitely for you. So we'll be diving on into that. There will be no game. This is just simply delving into how to make your best possible decision. So with that being said, go ahead and continue to share this out with other like-minded chiliheads or individuals that are curious about the world of hot, because this is where you can find everything to do with the world of hot. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and start tonight's discussion. All right, now, welcome back in. Tonight we are going to be talking about finding your heat. Not my heat, not your favorite YouTuber's heat, not some labels claiming that it's the hottest thing on earth. We're talking about your heat. Because here's the truth that nobody's telling you up front. Most people don't hate hot sauce. They hate buying the wrong hot sauce. It's very simple to get caught up, swept away in the hype, in the overall just excitement about a certain sauce. And yes, that sauce may very well warrant that praise, that, uplift. But deep down, this comes down to what do you enjoy and how you can navigate these waters so you don't have that regret sitting inside your fridge or in your pantry shelf. So that mistake costs money, kills curiosity, and honestly pushes people away from the Chilihead space altogether. So today we're fixing that. This episode is about how heat actually works without turning this into a science lecture, and why Scoville numbers lie to you, and how to choose sauces you actually finish, and how to build the heat journey that doesn't just punish you or your wallet. If you're new here, this is the perfect starting off point. If you've been here for a while, I promise you will still learn something. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So why most people buy hot sauce wrong? Well, here's the first uncomfortable truth. Most people shop for hot sauce the same way they shop for energy drinks or protein powder. They chase the maximum intensity, not the maximum enjoyment. And the industry oftentimes doesn't really help this. You may hear the excitement of, this sauce does that, that sauce is this. No, this sauce is made with this pepper instead of that pepper. This one's going to be better than that one, and so on and so forth, without allowing you to be able to define what matters most for you in your scenario. And because simply heat sells. Things like hottest or world's hottest or extreme or face melting. All these terms discuss the heat, but without context, it's meaningless. So let me say this clearly. Heat tolerance is not a personality trait. It's not a badge of honor, and it definitely doesn't equal flavor knowledge. There are people who eat Superhots daily who still don't know what they actually like. And then there's those beginners who think that they can't handle spice, when in reality, they just skip 5 steps ahead. So before you can even talk about the bottles, the brands, and the peppers, you need to understand what heat actually is. So, what heat really means? Capsaicin doesn't burn you. It doesn't damage your tissue. It doesn't raise temperature. It doesn't melt anything. Capsaicin activates a pain receptor, specifically the TRPV1 receptors, that normally warn your body about heat or imminent danger. Your brain simply thinks that something is wrong and that you need to pay attention. That's it. So when you're eating spicy food, you're not tasting heat, you're experiencing a neurological event. And that's why mood matters, your stress level matters, your sleep matters, and of course, the context of it all matters. And here's a stat that surprises most people. Around 25 to 30% of people are significantly more sensitive to bitterness and oral burn due to genetics. This is often called super tasters, meaning two people can eat the same sauce and have a completely different experience. So if you've ever wondered, why does this destroy me, but my friend just shrugs it off, that's not weakness, it's biology. The problem here is with the Scoville numbers. So let's talk about the number everyone obsesses over, the Scoville Heat Units. Once you add vinegar, sugar, fat, fruit, fermentation, anything to this mixture, the Scoville number becomes more of a marketing suggestion than a reality. Two sauces with the same listed SHU can feel widely different because of simple factors. One hits fast and fades, one creeps and lingers, one burns the tongue, and then one could just simply settle in the throat or chest. I'm sure you've experienced this, and I'm sure that you're pretty well aware that you've encountered this in one way, shape, or form, whether that be through a pepper, through a powder seasoning in general, straight pepper powder, or oftentimes through a simple sauce. You might have tried these and experienced different areas in which you're feeling the overall perceived heat. If you buy sauces based on the SHU alone, you're just simply gambling. And that's how people end up with shelves full of bottles that they just never touch. So there's 3 questions here that actually matter. Where do I feel heat the most? This could be the tongue, the lips, the throat, the stomach. That question there tells you more than tolerance ever will. Next question. Do I like fast heat or slow heat? Fast heat tends to be bright with sharp peppers, while slow heat tends to be more of your Superhots and kind of your fermented sauces for that matter. All right, then question number 3. Do I want a flavor forward or heat forward? Well, this is a pretty big question here, so don't let it just slip by. If flavor matters, and for most people it does, your choice of sauce should instantly narrow. Here's a nice little tip for you. If you can't describe the flavor of a sauce, it's probably not the right one for you just yet. Doesn't mean that it's a bad sauce, just means that you're not really ready for it yet because you're not able to appreciate the flavor profile that is going on. And that's not a knock to overall tolerance. That's just simply being smart with your own journey. You wouldn't walk into the gym day one of having no experience and go, that guy in the corner that's lifting 500, 600 pounds, all of a sudden I'm just going to go walk over there and I'm going to go squat that. No, you ease into it. You get the proper form. You get the best understandings of what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then you have something to work towards. The same goes as your overall journey and process in which you are selecting your hot sauce, your powders, your peppers, all of these things. So, Don't just jump right into it. Find out what works, find out what you like. It's about the journey, not the destination. So, next up, here's where we're going to start to lay this framework that I've already started to recommend. So, finding your heat zone here. Zone 1. Here is where you are focused on exploration. So, you should still want to take another bite. This is where the whole learning process happens, right? You're starting to gather information on not only the sauce or pepper powder or pepper of your choice, but you're now starting to figure out, how does this sauce play with this food? Or is there some kind of flavor profile that this food might be missing that I can gain by adding this sauce? As you start to navigate and think of it in those ways, you're really adding value not only to your own personal journey, but curating and being intentional with your sauce purchases. All right, zone number 2. This is your enjoyable challenge. So, this is where you start to notice the heat, yes, but you're not quite fighting with it. This is where some of those favorites start to get born. This is where that spark really takes hold. This is where that passion, that drive, that motivation, that excitement that ends up just making you want to skyrocket off of this track and just dive into the deep end, and tends to end up causing it to where there's people that just kind of fizzle out. Maybe they start to pull back to with what they're comfortable with. Zone number 3. This is the occasional intensity zone. So these are not always going to be your daily drivers. These are more or less the tools, not meals. If every sauce you buy lives in zone 3, you're not building tolerance, you're burning curiosity away. So, we've already navigated the waters on what it looks like to gradually walk through these steps, find out where you're comfortable, have the chance to explore, understand what you like, your preferences, things that stand out to you. And here's the beauty of this all. As you go through this, whether this be your first time or your 10th time, what you will notice is that you might start to appreciate certain ingredients more, or you might think that you had liked something in the past only to find out that you're actually not that big of a fan of it anymore. And so you want to start to scale back. So, this next part here is where we're going to start to lean into how to shop smart. If you struggle with this, or if you know someone that does, maybe you have your significant other, your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend that are telling you that you have either too much hot sauce in the fridge, or you have, too many bottles open at one time. This next part is extremely important to you. This is how to shop smart so that you make sure that what you are putting in your hands is actually something that you're going to use without having all of those just regrets and things that you bought and you're like, maybe I'll get around to it, but deep down, you're probably not going to touch it ever again. Here is how you can start to minimize those from occurring and make sure that you're making the best possible purchases going forward. So, here's how to avoid the fridge regrets. So, read the ingredients, not just the hype. First of all, main thing you want to do, read those ingredients. You want to start to look for pepper varieties, not just the word chili written on there. That's just so vague. You have no clue what's going on. You want to really be able to hone in with specifically what you are getting in your sauces. And if you're just starting out, you want to avoid extracts. This is extremely important early on. There's no reason for you to delve on into it unless you're just trying to do something for a challenge or whatever. But if you're trying to actually curate your overall sauce collection, you're going to want to avoid extracts early on. If you want to dabble into those as you start to get familiar with what you like and what works, cool, do it by all means. Next, you want to buy the smaller bottles or sample packs if possible, because here's a great way for you to be able to try a whole bunch of sauces out at a much more rapid rate without breaking the bank. So you're able to pick up those smaller bottles, those sampler packs, whatever the case may be. You're able to try them, understand, take the time to jot down what did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Where did you feel the burn? How long did you feel the burn? Was it intense or was there more flavor? All of these things help you as a end user to be able to understand what works best for you, your palate, your preferences, and absolutely elevate the level at which you are consuming these hot sauces. Now, the next one here is trust the makers who describe the flavor and not just push the pain, because anyone can push the pain. Anyone out there can create, this sauce that's just going to be absolutely blowing the doors off, but it takes a level of skill, it takes a level of care, a level of passion to be able to take both the flavor and the pain and find a way to mix the two together in such a cohesive way that you are absolutely blown away by the overall experience that it takes you on. And from that standpoint, as long as you are focused on those 5 items, you are able to really kick off and make sure that you are focused on curating and being intentional with your overall hot sauce purchases, elevating not only the food that you're eating, elevating your chili head journey along the way. And remember, the best hot sauce is the one that you finish. It's not the one that's always the hottest. It's not the one that's the rarest. And it's not the one that gets the most likes online. The one you reach for again and again is the one that matters. So stop trying to worry about what someone else thinks about the hot sauce that you like, or the hot sauce that everyone else is ranting and raving over, because if you haven't tried it and you think, man, this is going to be absolutely a knockout, drag out, this is the winner of them all. No, it might not be the one that's best for you. Once again, tying back to earlier, if you cannot enjoy it, then there's not a point in it. Just because it's great for everyone else or a set group of people or some of your friends doesn't mean that it's a bad sauce because you can't fully appreciate it. It just means your journey is a great one in which that you need to find out and navigate for yourself. And you know what? That's part of the fun, because ultimately your path, your journey, my path, my journey, someone else's, we all get to experience, try these things, try different sauces, try different powders, etc. And do this in a fun way that, maybe I have something that's different from this person over there. This person has something that's different than both of us, etc. And now we are trying these along the way. We are learning from these experiences. And now we have great ways to be able to not only talk about this other than, yeah, it's a great sauce, you should try it. Now we can actually inform and educate our friends as they might be looking for something that fits a specific need. And then you're not just spouting out quick old, this is great. Now you're hitting them with actual value, actual facts about the product. And you get to really delve into it in a deeper level. So, what is all this about? I've mentioned it a few times. It's ultimately about building a heat journey that lasts. So, here's the long game. Heat tolerance builds faster when you enjoy the process, when you rotate sauces, when you take breaks, and when you listen to your body. It may sound counterintuitive, but taking breaks along the way, whether it's for a week, whether it's for 2 weeks, whether it's for a month, whatever the case may be, when you get back into trying out and pushing yourself or expanding your knowledge of different products that are out there, then you're resetting the journey in a good way. You're not going back to square one because you already have a nice tolerance. You already have a good understanding of what's out there. But now you're starting that path in a different way. You're now driving to a new destination. You're finding new stops along that path that you never knew about. Or, you're starting to really gather other ideas of ways in which you can use these products in your everyday life. So, listening to your body, taking breaks, rotating sauces, and enjoying the process along the way. And if you're ever unsure where to go next, that's exactly why this podcast exists. Because finding your heat isn't about proving anything, it's about unlocking more flavor, more culture, and more enjoyment. That's how people stick around, and that's how Chiliheads are made. If this episode helped you rethink how you choose hot sauces, then please share this with someone who has a fridge full of regrets. And if this episode is your first one, well, then once again, welcome. This is just the beginning. This right here is helping kick off a new series with inside the podcast where we are going to be diving into many great ways to help elevate your Chilihead journey along the way. Say it's simply, a kind of a ground zero building up. Maybe you have some piqued interest. Maybe you have tried a few different hot sauces, or you've had some spicy food, whether that be a cooked dish at a restaurant or at a friend's house. And you are now wanting to dip your toe in a little bit more and find out if this water is meant for you. And it definitely is. Remember, take it at your own pace. Remember to find what you love. Note down what you don't like. Note what you do like. List this all out. Make it a fun experience, a fun journey along the way. Learn something about different cultures while you can. And at the same time, you can jump on into many different areas of this process, from growing to connecting to burning to competing. You name it, there's something for you here. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode as starting to kind of kick off and welcome in with the new year all those that are maybe just starting their own spice journey, all the way to those of us that are out there, seasoned into this. We need to help build, facilitate, and welcome in those that are, maybe not as familiar with the overall space and what is out there. Because let's face it, there are thousands upon thousands of different hot sauces out there, and not to mention all the other spicy products that are available for consumption. Everything from those that are out there doing amazing stuff in their own kitchen to those that have been rocking the space for so long that they have become a household name. So, regardless of where you're at, this journey is really meant for you as long as you love capsaicin, as long as you love hot sauce, peppers, the whole shebang. We're going to be talking about it all. We're also going to be delving into ways to be able to help improve your quality of life through this journey. So you'll see these solo episodes sprinkled in throughout, also connecting to prior episodes, also connecting to future episodes where we will dive a little bit deeper into some of these topics. And if there's some questions or there's something that you want to hear more about, fire those off in the comments. I will gladly dive into that in a standalone episode, or, we can round this out and, do quite a bit as well encompassed into an AMA. So if you have questions, fire those off. Glad to get those going. Hopefully you've seen some value in this as we kick off this 12-part series. So this will be, like I said, sprinkled in through each month so we can kind of dive in a little bit deeper each time into different facets within the community. As rolling forward, we will be going back to a once a week schedule. You might see a periodic Thursday episode dropping while adding in value and ways in which that are beneficial for y'all Please let me know if there's anything that you feel you wish you would like to see, whether that be on the podcast, help navigating some of these waters, whatever the case may be within, you know, let me know down below. We'll definitely take a look at getting some of that featured here as well. If there's a guest that you would like to see, let me know that as well. Hopefully you're staying safe, you're staying warm as this cold weather is hitting. And, of course, keeping it spicy. Best way to kind of keep that heat at bay is to be able to enjoy your day with something nice and spicy. So, with that being said, want to give a quick shout out. We do have sponsorship opportunities available for the podcast. If you're looking to sponsor the podcast, reach out theswearword.net or on socials, and we'll get that conversation started. If you're on a platform that allows for podcast reviews, please go ahead, leave a 5-star review. That helps out immensely, getting in front of the algorithm and getting in front of other chili heads and individuals that are curious about the world of hot, because this is where you find everything to do with the world of hot. Shout out for our current sponsors, podvision.io. If you're looking to grow your brand, start your brand, if you hit a bump in the road, you're trying to figure things out, highly recommend checking out podvision.io, as well as webdx.one. Maybe you have an online site. Maybe you had a guy at one point and you lost contact. Maybe just never got around to building a website. Highly recommend checking out webdx.one for all of those needs. Best of all, they get you looking great online while you get to focus on what you do best. I'm Brandon Swear, and from everything from the world of hot, this has been The Swear Word.